Hello.
Hello.
It's we have a studio audience today.
Uh-huh.
We've got there's 4 chairs.
I feel like you're really gonna sling some shit now that you have an audience.
Well, I like to make it. They're all guys too, except for Lori, but Lori doesn't count anymore. We do have 4 chairs, so some of you are gonna be like, "Ooh, guest," and then some of you are gonna be like, "Ugh."
But that's why we're starting with the 2 of us. We'll do a little bit of our usual.
Well, no, look, you look beautiful
Thank
as
you.
always.
Thank
as always.
you.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I said we'll do a little bit of our usual, and in my head, I'm holding on to a fight right now.
No, we're not gonna fight. Well, that is the usual. But we are not gonna fight.
We're not.
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it later in private then.
Well, I had a wonderful show in College Station, Bryan College Station, and we did the Stampede.
Yes.
It was kind of a last minute kind of add on.
Yes.
And it was just it was a beautiful weekend.
Yeah.
Sunday. So Jody, who plays fiddle for Cody Johnson, has become a very good friend of mine, and his wife actually, she reminds me of you a lot. She's very fashionable. She's very funky. She kind of has her own thing going on, kind of like you and those earrings. She's got her own thing going on. And when I met her for the first time was at NFR, and she was explaining to me her passion for helping people.
Yeah.
And Jake was at the craps table with us, and we were just really taken with her passion for helping people who have been human trafficked.
Yeah.
And as a matter
Victims of human trafficking.
Victims of human trafficking. And being in Bryan College Station, they don't have any facilities, anything for those.
Any sort of resources.
Resources for those people. So she took it upon herself to take on that for her town.
Yeah.
So since she has become a 501c3, this girl is a doer.
I was gonna say that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, they bought an apartment complex. She raised money to buy an apartment complex to house them.
Uh-huh.
She built a boutique for them to have jobs. She's just a by herself.
Yeah.
Very, very motivated girl, and I admired her tenacity. I mean, a lot of people sit there and they say, "Well, I wish I could do this," or "I'm gonna do that," or she did it.
Yeah.
So Sunday night, and Brian Hart's here. He was there. I don't know. I felt compelled to help.
Yeah.
So I said, Renee and I are going to make a donation, but we need the audience to match our donation, and we ended up raising her another $3,000 that day.
That's amazing.
So it was just a good weekend, and a lot of good folks and.
Brian, she just came to see a show and laugh. That's awesome.
But again, she moved me and she motivated me.
Yeah.
I hate that I don't have her card.
I was going to say, what's the name of the organization so we can actually give them some love?
The card is actually on my. You want me to go get it? I'll go get it.
No, I was going to say we have so many people in here too.
I'll go get it.
Okay, should I tell people what we were going to fight about this morning?
Yes.
We are starting a little bit late today because I did not know we were podcasting at 10 a.m. Mr. Trevino rescheduled the podcast and he knew about it, but I did not know. So I showed up in my gym clothes, smelling like armpits, not having showered, and got ready. I did good though. I did good. But what my bone that I was going to pick with you is yesterday.
I got a bone for you.
Wah, wah, wah. Yesterday, I got a whole lecture about not communicating something that was on the calendar, that has been on the calendar for weeks. And then I walk in and you're like, you're not ready to go? We're podcasting at 10.
No, but my thing is hey, I made a mistake. I honestly thought that we were on a group text because Jake had hit me up and he said, hey, let's move it to 10. Mm-hmm. And I look up there and there's several people on the text and I just assumed, and that's my fault, that we were all in the know-how. And if we're going to blame anybody, we should blame producer Rick.
Oh, okay.
Producer Rick is the problem.
I'm still not buying that one.
Because Rick didn't produce. Rick didn't call and say, hey, guys, we're moving to 10. No, he just...
We live in the same house. Well, How hard is it to say?
The mics are cutting out again. Your problem.
No, Rick, what you don't know is yesterday I got a whole lecture about not communicating lunch plans about because it was President's Day. It was a school holiday.
God.
The school holiday has been on the calendar for months.
That doesn't mean I know what you want to do. Like, that was what was driving me crazy yesterday. She's like, hey, the kids are off today. We should do something. I'm like, yes, we should. I'll go outside. Let me know. I'll be ready to go when you're ready.
I said, these are our options. We have a child who naps in the middle of the day. So there is a morning window and there is an afternoon window.
And that's what women don't understand is I don't need options. Tell me what to do.
No, you did need options because you were frustrated. You were like, I got things to do. I had plans today.
It was the first nice day in forever. I finally got my new Polaris back. I had my boots on, my hat. I was ready to go out to the yard and start cleaning this place up for spring. And I was like, hey, let me know, brah. I'm ready to go. And then you were like...
No, that was not how it went down. It said no school in the calendar. Even Garrett knew. Garrett had his heart set on going to hibachi for lunch because we had talked about it.
But I'm always so scared because,
I'm scared.
I know. Because I'll be like, hey, let's do this. And you're like, are you stupid? It's nap time.
I have never said, are you stupid?
Our daughter's going to turn into a pumpkin. You know better. So anyway, we'll fight next time. Read the card so we can give some love.
Back to good-hearted stuff. What is it? I can't read.
Turn it around.
Different Day Foundation.
Different Day Foundation. She's
Different
doing
Day Foundation.
Wonderful things in Bryan College Station. And that is a cause that I was really made aware of through our friend Josh Abbott.
Yeah.
And Josh Abbott had us, me and Renee, go out and I performed and helped him out with his charity Jab Cares. And they were actually raising money for the same thing.
Yeah.
Women who have been human trafficked.
Yes.
So being a father of a beautiful baby girl, and I think, Jake will tell you, we spend all year veterans, and we're very proud of that. But then you hear all these other things. You just want to help everybody, and you just can't, So even though I can't help her and get behind her like I do Helicopters for Heroes, the least I can do, raise a couple bucks at my show and bring awareness to her foundation to people. So
it's differentdayfoundation.org is the website.
I'm very excited about our guests.
Yeah.
We do have a guest. They are a couple. One of the things that we try to do in this podcast is to bring you couples, and we always try to do it with couples.
Yeah.
We like the idea that we can bring other perspectives, other couples that are in difficult businesses that work together, that have to work around each other's schedules, very similar to us, and just kind of get their perspective. So today we have the number one bull rider.
As of today?
He's been going up and down. Sometimes I see him, he's like 3, and then he's 1 again, and then he's 2, and then he's 1 again, and so right now.
Oh, because the San Antonio Rodeo is happening right now.
Well, the rankings go points-wise, it goes up and down. So right now he's the number 1 bull rider in the world. And I had the pleasure.
That's so cool.
I had the pleasure of meeting him and his beautiful wife at NFR. And before I bring him in, I will tell this quick story. Is that I found it very funny. So we're at NFR, which is National Finals Rodeo.
When you were in Vegas.
Yes, December. When I was in Vegas. And afterwards, of course, I bring Josh on stage. He waves, and of course, there's rodeo fans there, of course.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I'm like, hey, Josh will come out, and he'll hang out. And if you want to take a picture with him, you can, because he's such a nice, giving guy.
Yeah.
So he comes out, and everybody's there at my show, so I'm taking pictures. And then like every third person would be like, oh my God, Josh, can I get a picture with you? So then Josh is like, well, I'm going to be hanging out at the Lane Frost clothing booth at the Expo Center for the rodeo fans.
Yeah.
I'll be there signing autographs, hanging out. Come hang out. So then I felt like him. Nobody gave a shit about me. They just want to take a picture with him. And they're like, hey, sir, can you take our picture of me and John? I'm like, yes.
Well, it was Cowboy Christmas, right? They probably had no idea who you were.
But it's so fun getting to know him. I got to meet his wife briefly.
Yeah.
And now me and you get to meet them as a couple together on a podcast. So I'd like to introduce you to the Frosts, Josh and Erika Frost. Come on in, guys.
Let me move over.
Come on over here. We'll give them the shitty chairs. I
warmed it up for you.
Well, hello, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, first, because Renee and I are madly in love with each other, and we always say
even when we fight.
That's what I was going to say. Even though we call it an imperfectly perfect marriage, we always like to know. Number one, I think I know probably where y'all met, but you guys couldn't be further apart.
Completely
growing
different
up.
Countries.
Yeah. So you grew up in Canada.
Yep. Canada, Quebec, Canada, from Montreal, so completely different
And
area.
she speaks French.
I was going to ask, because most people speak French, right?
Quebec is the only part in Canada they speak French.
Are you of French descent?
Yes. I've always spoke French, and we spoke French at home. I learned English as well at home. My mom's side of the family's English, and my dad's side's French, so I got both. And
That's really cool. Do you guys ever go to France?
Nope. I've never been to France.
They'll probably shit on you there for your accent.
Yeah, completely different French there.
Different French. I've been to Montreal. You have not.
I have not, no.
I've
never been to Canada at all.
It is a huge melting pot. Is that the right way to say it?
That would be correct.
I mean, and the food's amazing. The food is amazing there. So growing up, Quebec, and I would assume family rodeo business, right? And do you?
I don't associate rodeo with Canada. I associate it as like a southern thing.
A lot of people do, but people don't realize that Canada is country as fuck.
Yeah.
Like especially like Calgary and that side.
Yes.
You go to Brian, where Brian lives in Nova Scotia. In Nova Scotia, they are country as fuck. They hunt and they are very country.
Yeah.
So then you rodeo and you find yourself in a little college in Oklahoma or the Panhandle?
Yes, Goodwell, Oklahoma, in the Panhandle.
And I would have assumed that that's where you ran into this fool.
It was. I wanted to rodeo, and my dad said, I guess you can go to college, but don't meet a guy out there and want to stay there. And here we are.
How did it go down?
First college rodeo, I met Josh, so that didn't take very long.
The first one?
And so we were actually at different colleges. I was at Panhandle State. It was in Goodwell, Oklahoma, Panhandle. She was at Weatherford, Oklahoma. And like I said, literally been to college for 3 weeks. And she was actually living with my now sister-in-law. And so...
Oh, now this shit gets incestuous.
Bro, I love stories like this. Not incestuous, I mean this.
So we kind of have the same situation with two of my cousins. Two of my cousins married a brother and sister.
So now they're uncle cousins.
We call them kunkles. So they have kids that have kunkles and, their cousin uncles, and and people are like, how the fuck does that work? So it's just kind of the same situation. So, back up. So you were roommates with...
I was roommates with Kylie, which is his brother's wife.
Yeah.
So they're not related.
Were they
just
no
lived
relation.
together.
We just were roommates.
Were they already married when you were living with her?
Not yet.
Were they engaged?
They just got engaged.
Yeah, they had just got engaged that summer.
And that's your...
Sister-in-law now.
So crazy.
No blood, though.
No blood, but
That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's
college
so
roommates
awesome.
are now sister-in-laws.
Yes.
So she's fucking stuck with you forever.
Stuck now in the middle
So
of
who
nowhere.
met first? So obviously they met first.
Yeah, they met first. They, like I said, they were engaged. And then so like I said, we...
But had you met her before, or you hadn't even met her?
This was her. So we're the same. I'm a year older than her, but she had went to college or school in Quebec for 2 years after high school. So I was on my junior year of college. She came down and was a freshman because that was when she decided to come rodeo. So she comes down as a freshman, gets to Weatherford, Oklahoma, trying to find somewhere to live. Kylie had a place at the house she was renting. So they move in, they become friends.
Was there some little grumblings from your brother that were like, hey, dude, she's hot? Like
maybe a little. I mean, there was, hey, like,
Maybe a little.
Kylie has these two French roommates. They speak French. You need to meet them. So,
so you picked this one. So there was 3 of you girls.
Yes.
So who hit on who?
It was definitely me.
Definitely.
Kylie slingshotted me, and she's like, "Hey, this is my roommate Erika." A couple margaritas later, I got her out there dancing. And, I always say I impressed her with my dancing skills.
Was that it was very weird for Renee and I. There was never like an official we're together now. We just were. Was that like for you guys?
It was.
I thought we were together. I was in love with him the second I met him, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know. I guess it was just at my age at the time. I felt like that had to be the official. Will you be my girlfriend? That being
well, me too, right? I was like, well, you're not my chick, and she's like, I haven't left. like I'm here every day.
Yeah.
But it was weird for us. We just knew. We just knew that we were.
I don't know if I did.
We didn't go anywhere. You wouldn't leave.
Because you were funny. You made me laugh. I was sticking
You could have said because I give good dick or something.
I was a willing audience member.
And then one time she says, she goes, I go, I love her so much because she loves to laugh. And she laughs at all my jokes. And then she goes, I laugh at everybody's jokes. I'm like, oh, well, fuck, I'm not special. So then was there a moving in right away, or it was kind of long distance, or...
long distance, like I said, both of us were different colleges. I'm rodeoing a bunch, and when you said to get there was not really never an official we're together, but then 6 months in, I'm like, will you be my girlfriend? But just to really,
she was like, I've been your
girlfriend for 5.5 months.
This is also at a bar, so it's not cute.
Also, and then how did you break it to your dad and your mom?
I first told him, I said, Dad, I met this guy. He's a bull rider. My dad said, heck no. Nope, no bull rider. And I said, he ropes calves too. And he's like, all right, I'll meet this guy. And the first jackpot, he came and watched. And Josh was tied down roping, and Josh fell flat on his face. First calf out. And my dad said, is this a bull rider pretending to be a calf roper for me to like him? And I said, no, I promise he ropes calves.
No, really. Despite the mud on his face, he's
fluke deal.
So that was the first time.
First time I met him, I said we'd been together probably 7 months. He flew down from Quebec to watch her at the college rodeo, and I'm in the calf roping there too, and didn't
Did your dad rodeo?
He did. He calf ropes as well.
Well, and that's what you'll notice about rodeo, and that was one of my questions when it comes to rodeo. Is there any fear of that someday rodeo will go away with this modern world that we live in? And there's really, so that most rodeo people are rodeo people, and their families are in rodeo, and it's just a family tradition that has continued. There's very few people that are first generation rodeo. So do you guys ever get that feeling of oh man, this could go away?
I don't really. You kind of hit it on the head.
I was gonna say, is that accurate? That if you go to college for rodeo, is it very rare that you will meet someone who is the first in their family to go to college for rodeo?
Yeah, it's probably. That it is people are making enough money rodeoing, primarily, especially in the bull riding. Bull riding's became a standalone to where you hit some people that are seeing it on TV and are like, holy cow, I want to be a bull rider. And so they go and find somewhere to learn how to do it. But in general, it's, but there's still large parts of America and Canada, like Steve said, that are country as fuck. And very much a lot of it's still very much alive and well. And it's
never too late to start.
Yeah.
I ran barrels until my sophomore year of college. I decided I wanted to be a breakaway roper, and so I started at 20 years old. And
how did that decision come about?
Barrel racing is very, very tough if you don't have the horsepower. And breakaway roping, it was a lot of working on yourself. I could be out there roping the dummy and perfecting my skill to where I could have an average horse and still be doing really good. And so I thought that was pretty appealing to me because I like to work hard, and I thought that would be a great swap for me.
Put it on yourself.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And he was all about it. He did not like the barrel
racing.
racing.
Not a fan of barrel racing, loved roping. That's how I always tell her. The day I knew I loved you was when you sold your barrel horse and bought a breakaway horse.
Well, our story of the day I knew I loved her is very different. we were taking a picture with my balls hanging out of my pants, and we picked up our shirts, and everybody taking a picture went, and then this one was like, hilarious!
He forgot to mention that happened at a wedding.
It was also at a wedding.
Taking the picture at a wedding.
Very, very different. But then from there, it's okay, we're together, boyfriend and girlfriend, but you got to do your thing and you got to do your thing.
Yes.
How does that work?
I love that about him. He supports me in what I do, and I support him, and we kind of go our own ways. But always come back to each other. But
Well, that's my question. So is it different circuits?
Yeah, I mean, we're technically we're both competing in the PRCA, but like it's a bull rider schedule and a breakaway roper schedule are completely different.
So, but are you in the same city at the same time?
Maybe
Sometimes.
I'll go to 120 rodeos a year, and maybe 8 of those will be at the same time as her.
Oh, damn.
So
that's like vacation.
But
When those 8 cities align.
what's even crazier is that Josh doesn't have to travel with the bull he's going to ride.
Right.
You know, so he can fly in, show
yeah.
up, get in his hotel room, and you're hauling a
trailer and the horse.
Are you hauling that yourself, or you have
I
like
am.
someone who helps you haul it?
I haul myself, and
The truck and trailer is here.
I know Steve yesterday was telling someone, he's like, oh, we're going to have the Frost on the podcast. They're bringing a horse on the podcast. And I was like,
on the
horse
podcast.
on the podcast? How's that going to work?
he's right here.
But she pulled in that trailer all by herself. She didn't yell at Josh about it. She didn't go, come get me, and why aren't you guiding me in, and why do I get stuck pulling the trailer?
Meanwhile, yesterday I'm trying to reverse my car out between Steve's two, and I have to call Lori to come help me because I can't get it out.
But that makes things more difficult for you guys as a relationship. Literally after this, you're hauling ass to Amarillo.
I am.
And how long is that drive? Does anybody know offhand?
7 hours.
7 hours. She's about to drive with the horse trailer.
And then where are you off to?
I'm just hanging out here with Jerry and Jake and Steve. But I ride here Thursday again at San Antonio.
For the San Antonio radio.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've already rode it once here or no?
I have rode 4 times here already and done it's kind of a tournament. So like you ride, you do well, you move on. And so I did well on my first couple bulls. Now the Thursdays, they call it the semifinals.
Right.
So ride again Thursday, do well, ride again Saturday for the finals. So
I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you do it. And it's it's so funny to me to see a guy like you who's so confident, so no problem jumping on a bull. Yet I call you on stage in Vegas, and all of a sudden he's this shy guy. And it's funny because people look at me and go, how do you do that? And for me, it's just my whole life. It's natural to me. And for you, you look at me and go, this guy's fucking crazy. And I look at you and go, this guy's fucking crazy. But you started, 8 years old?
Oh, yeah. Yep, 6. That's what most kids want to be a basketball player. I was getting on Holstein caps, starting small, work my way up, and so it's.
So how did you guys end up in Utah?
That was where my family was from. There was 4 brothers from Colorado, which was one of my grandpa's family, and they moved to Utah, bought a ranch, and my dad lives in the same house that he grew up in, and we're just right up the road from there, and so it's just kind of
Just home.
just home, yeah.
How do you train in the winter?
It's not fun. I actually built an indoor arena at my house.
Oh, if you were wondering if he does well.
That being said,
If you were wondering if rodeo paid well, I just built an indoor arena.
But I didn't insulate it because it hasn't been very cold it is 20 degrees, which for me, that's not terrible. This winter, though, we have 1.5 feet of snow and it's negative 15. So that uninsulated indoor arena has been
Still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence why I've spent the last 3 weeks in Texas.
But you're able to train there too as well.
Yeah, so we have roping set up there, and we can rope buck bulls on the other end. So
Now I don't mean to start problems on this podcast, but are we thinking
Who's
about
fighting, us or them?
Well, we're gonna get them in a fight. we'll fight the kids on the way. Thinking about it.
if it was up to Josh, I think we'd have kids right now.
I'm ready for that. I'm excited, but
I'm excited as well, but I want to go breakaway roping. I was a first grade teacher for 2 years and decided to just go rodeoing this year, and so I want to go hard.
So this is your first year to just rodeo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Renee and I talk about that quite a bit amongst ourselves, and now that I'm raising a daughter, being a woman is so complicated, and it's so hard, because I think you would make an amazing mother. However, you also want to have something for yourself.
I feel like women have to think about their lives in phases in ways that a man doesn't necessarily have to.
Right.
I mean, we have to think about our life in phases too.
Well, I mean, listen, there's only so many years a woman is capable of conceiving. And we said we weren't going to talk about sex on this podcast.
Well, we're not. So in our situation, same thing. I was like, I'm ready to have a kid. And Renee was not ready. And she gave me an ultimatum that I had to propose to her. And then I gave her an ultimatum and said, look, I'm ready.
We're having kids now or not?
Yeah, we're having kids. You ain't no spring chicken
We're
anymore.
pulling the goalie.
So we had to make that decision for us. But, you guys are also in a great situation, in a bad situation, because the sport you're in is for young people. And you can't rodeo forever. You can go a lot longer than he can. So maybe...
What are the average ages? You're talking to like a rodeo dummy, you guys. I don't know a lot, so I'm going to ask simple questions.
Bull riding is, in general, mid-30s is when you guys see guys start retiring. That being said, there was a guy that was 48 years old that made the PBR finals last year. But that's like unheard of. And so
I better start training. Yeah. I'm in.
But so my time period's a lot shorter than hers, whereas, there's breakaway ropers that are 45, 50 making the NFL.
Oh, that's amazing.
Josh always says I'm his retirement plan. He said, someday I'll just take care of the kids and haul you around everywhere and you can just rope. So
I like that too.
That's awesome.
That's a great plan. So how did, you've been together now 7-8 months, doing the rodeo thing. She's the one for you. He's the one for you. Now, did y'all go to your brother's wedding?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did he propose?
That's a pretty cool story. You should explain it.
And so, similar to, what did we date? I think we'd been together for 4 years before I proposed. That being said...
You were that guy? I was that guy too.
Yes.
I was that guy too.
We were 7 years in.
In my defense, I was just wanting to have a lot of money so I could get a big ring.
See? No, I was the same way where I'm like...
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, other men figure it out.
Well, no, and I don't know about
With a little ring.
Right. No, but I'm like you, Josh, and I would assume that we're very similar. I grew up with a very hard father, and my father always taught me to stand on my own 2 feet and to be my own man, and so I didn't want any help, and I never got any help. So everything was on me, and I always wanted to give her all the things that she deserves to have. So there was a little bit about that for me too, where I was like, I can't afford to give you the wedding that you want. I can't afford to give you the ring that I think you deserve. And in retrospect, I think you learn that it wasn't about the big ring. However, I think men have an ego. Right, and there's some machismo behind it of like, I am here, I'm supposed to provide, and I'm supposed to give my wife all the great things, right? So 4 years goes by.
4 years goes by, and like I said, in my mind, I still wasn't ready.
Were y'all living together?
We were living together.
Living in sin, like us. Yes.
But by that point, we never went and looked at rings, but I was getting pictures and more or less.
She was doing the same thing, dude. If you're gonna pick out a ring, these are the kind I like. Yeah. Like she was doing that shit to me.
That being said, I go get the ring, and then I'm still getting the pictures. And by this point, the pictures she's sending me look nothing like the ring I got.
Oh, this is our story.
And finally, and like by that point, I had the ring. Like I'm trying to plan out, and then the one day, I kind of lose it. I'm like, we'll get engaged at some point. Quit asking me. She starts crying, and I'm like, I'm over here feeling terrible. Like, oh my gosh, this ring don't look like the picture she just sent me.
So hold on, but did you talk to Daddy? Had you talked to Daddy already?
I probably, I guess, should have talked to him before I bought the ring. That being said, I bought the ring, and then like the night before I was gonna ask her, I call him up, and
this is our story. I bought the ring first, and then I always tell the story. I go up to her dad and I said, sir, I'm planning on marrying your daughter. Here's the ring. And he just goes, well, you're a hard worker. He wasn't like, welcome to the family. I'm so happy. We've been waiting. And then he goes,
we've been waiting for 7 years.
Yeah. And then he goes, well, we should tell Mary.
He's like, we were hoping she would change her mind over the last 7 years.
Yeah. So I go to her mom. I say, hey, I'm planning on. And then Raymond's like, tell her. Like, I go, ma'am, I plan on, asking Renee to marry me. And she goes, I'll never forget it. Well, not right away. Like, how was his response to you?
They were excited. They loved me, and so
I really did.
I don't know that feeling.
They did. They were. Besides the fact
when he said it, they loved me.
Yeah, they actually loved me.
Besides the fact that they knew I was taking her to Utah, like he was almost in tears on the phone. He was so excited. And same thing with their mom. And
I'm about to cry. How does that feel to be wanted and welcomed? So how did you act? And again, you're a fucking bull rider. You have the balls to get on a bull and ride a bull in an arena in front of sometimes 30,000 people. But is it me or like I can get in front of a crowd, talk, make them laugh. But when it came to proposing, I was a freaking mess.
No, that was me too. And I was 99.9% sure she was going to say yes, but still nervous. And so I get it all planned out. It was like day before Halloween. So I went and carved 35 pumpkins that said
14 pumpkins.
Yeah, will you marry me? So I had it all planned out, and I decorated the yard all up with lights and put the pumpkins up. Will you marry me? That being said, the night I was going to ask her, I was preparing for the NFR in that period, so I was getting on practice bulls. So I'm out there like getting ready to get on these bulls and all.
That was me in my college years. I was getting on. Never mind. They were just for practice, baby.
But literally, all I'm thinking about is
Jake. Stop looking at me. Jake's laughing hard.
More or less freaking out about asking her to marry me, and then I'm like, you got to get it together, and then I'm thinking like, what if I break my leg on one of these bulls?
Well, yeah, it's like that Rocky moment. They weaken the legs.
Yeah.
You're thinking about women. They weaken the legs.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I'm like all the things
because you're definitely not focused on
not what you need to be thinking about when you're about to get on something that could kill you.
And I'm thinking, how did you carve 14 pumpkins without her not knowing something's up?
Hit him in my trunk. Like I had it all set up.
He did this so cute, and I tried to ruin it so bad.
Oh my God, this is our story.
I had no clue, and we just got done roping. We had like 7 horses saddled.
When we had plans that night with friends afterwards.
But did the friends know?
The friends know.
Knew. I didn't know. And his dad pulls up in the truck. Josh has been building fence all day, carving pumpkins. And his dad pulls up in the truck, says, "Hey, Josh, you got to come help me get the cows they got out of the fence you just built." And I'm thinking, this idiot, you built fence all day, and these cows got out. And so I'm mad because we're supposed to go meet up
we have plans later. Don't you be late.
So he's like,
fuck the fence. You screwed up. Yeah. We got plans.
He said, "Can you unsaddle the horses? I'll go get the cows in." So I have 7 horses to unsaddle. I'm like, fine, whatever. Unsaddle all the horses. By then, I'm so mad. I've got tunnel vision. Driving to the house, he's got the pumpkins.
Beautiful extravaganza set out in the yard. Like I'm out there in my
pumpkins are illuminated, like lights, and I drove right by it.
Never
saw it.
Drives right by, walks in the house, and doesn't even see it.
You and her. Remember, I told you in Vegas. I go, you were gonna get along with my wife.
Yeah.
I go, you were gonna fucking get along. And now you guys are the same assholes. So you drive by the pumpkins. No clue.
I had no clue how I missed it. There was lights. And then his little sister said, "Hey, Erika, can I come shower at the house? Her shower's not working." So I'm like, all right. So she comes in the house with me, and she's just standing there. And
hold on, this is your plan. Because you tell your sister, "Hey, dummy over there didn't see my fucking proposal."
Well, she was supposed to like bring me out and stuff. Well, I'm standing in the house. She's standing there. I'm like, "What are you doing? Go shower." Like, why is everyone being weird? And
so at this point, I call her and I'm like, "Babe, we have a potbelly pig."
Sweat balls.
Oh yeah,
like just
standing outside by the pumpkins.
And so I'm like, "Hey, Tina got out. You got to come help me. She's running all over the yard."
Like, the cows are out. The fucking Tina's out.
Everything's out.
Thinking that she'd just come outside. Instead, she walks all pissed off, walks to the window and looks out, and then she sees the pumpkin. Phone drops, and then like.
I just stood there.
She just stands there, and I'm like, "Are you gonna come out here?"
Come outside.
What was going through your mind?
I was in shock. I should have seen the signs. There was so many signs. Like his dad pulled up in the pickup truck to go get the cows and was so excited. He was like, "Hey, Eric." I'm like, why is he so happy that his idiot son? Like there was so many signs looking back down. I saw none of them, so I was pretty in shock.
So then when did you physically tell her?
When she finally walked out, she finally came out of the house and walked out there. My knee was sore. I'd been down there for 20 minutes waiting. And
I didn't even let you ask.
Yeah, she just ran and said yes and started.
And he goes, "I think I have to ask you first."
That is that's such a similar story. This girl right here is like a freaking FBI agent. I can't do shit. Where are you going? And why are you doing that? And what's going on?
I would have known something was up with the pumpkins. I would have been like, "You smell like pumpkins."
She shit on every idea I had to propose to her. We're driving home, and I don't know if we told the story on the podcast, but I'll give you kind of the short version. We're driving home for Christmas. At that point, we're living in Los Angeles. We would always go home for a long time for December, Christmas, and it's hunting season, and so I can't wait to go home. We're driving home. All of my relatives had proposed at we have a big Christmas Eve party. And we've had 8 proposals.
Really? I don't know that. I wasn't there for those, I don't think.
So we're driving home, and I got the ring in my pocket. And by the way, I don't know about you, but I always kept checking on it. I'm like, is it still there? Is it still there? Okay. So it's in my pocket, and we're driving home, and this one goes, it's so lame, people that propose on Christmas Eve. And I'm like, well, shit, there goes that plan. So she ends up shitting on 4 other plans. And finally, we walk in my mom's house, and I take a knee, and I go, will you marry me? And that was it. You know, all my plans went to complete shit. So you said yes.
I did.
Big wedding, small wedding?
It was a pretty big wedding. My family came from Canada, and it was a little scary for a bit, though, with COVID. We didn't know if we would have to move it further down.
Well, and that was, so we got engaged 2020, so that was the hardest part too, was like I didn't actually get to meet her dad in person to ask, and so
you had to call.
Had to call, but it was like I didn't know when I was going to get to go to Canada, or they were going to
get to come here. Yeah.
And so we start planning the wedding for the next October.
You mean she started?
She does.
Yeah.
I picked the cake. That was,
That's about it.
Yeah.
And the cake never showed up. So
Yeah.
Were you a little bit bridezilla?
No, not at all. I mean,
she did good. She did very good. That was, but yeah. Moral of the story: we planned the wedding. We were scared it wasn't going to happen.
What happened to the cake?
Didn't happen. We ordered the cake.
It was actually a blessing in disguise. So the morning of our wedding, we were in separate rooms. He's with his groomsmen, I'm with my bridesmaids, and I get a Facebook message saying, "Hey, my phone's been dead for 2 days. I can't actually bring you your cake." And I was like, and I just start laughing, and my maid of honor, Caitlin, was like, "What's wrong? What's happening?" And I said, "Oh, the cake's not coming." And she was like, and this is like 8 bridesmaids just running. And I was like,
they were
it's okay.
bridesmaidzillas.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, it is
because
what it
I
is.
wasn't. Honestly, I didn't care about anything but Mary and Josh, which sounds cheesy, but it was real. And so they ran downstairs, they had a bakery downstairs. And I actually had time to like read my Bible that morning and was alone. And I don't know what to speak to. It was a good moment.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment. We go back to our wedding, and when people ask me, what's your advice for us? And I always say, that's your wedding day. That is the first day that you're going to be a couple. And my advice to you is don't leave each other's side. We made the mistake of feeling like we have to entertain.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go talk to my family. You go talk, So, and then before you know it, that beautiful day, the best party we've ever thrown was gone.
Yeah.
And we didn't spend, so I always tell young couples, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, don't leave each other's sight. That's the first day that you get to be a couple, and everybody's there for you. Nobody's going to go, man, those assholes, they wouldn't leave each other.
That's true.
So and that day goes by so fast. And those are memories for me that are etched in my brain as one of the most beautiful days of my life. We got married in Mexico, in this beautiful place, and we need to go back. But I really wish that we had spent more time together. There. Now, what are the big fights you guys have?
This just sounds bad, but we really don't fight.
No. Like I said, I guess we were only a year and a half in, but even before that, there was minor adjustments moving in of me leaving my clothes laying around and stuff.
The toilet seat up.
The toilet seat.
But Josh is a horrible person. Like, he does not fight. Like, I could be mad about something and he'll find a solution. I'm like, I don't want a solution. I just want a bitch right now. I just want to complain and argue. And he's like super positive all the time and finds, it's impossible to fight.
That's similar to us. Well, no,
No, we fight all the time.
Well, no, I want a solution.
Not similar to us.
I want a solution and I want to fix it. And she won't. I'm like, no, you can't leave. I'm like, get over here. Let's fix this. And then she'll just be like, I'm not dealing with it. Like, fuck you, we need to deal with it right now, But I will say that when you have kids too, that makes things a little more complicated. The fact that you don't have kids, and with the travel schedule.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, realistically, if you said you do 180 tournaments a year, how many days in a year do you guys actually spend together, you think? Like half the year?
Probably half the year. Like, the good part for me, like, it's like the summer is when I'm super busy. So October through January, I'll be home almost every day. So that's usually the hardest adjustment too, is we like when we're on the road, we get used to being in that schedule. But then, like when I take off in January, it's the worst because we've literally been together.
It's harder when we've been together for
Yeah.
a while than when we're used to it. And like we've always kind of been long distance, and people ask me if it's hard, and I'm like, no, I get to steal his horse, his truck, his trailer, and go rodeo. What do you mean this is hard? But I've always been pretty independent. I mean, I drove 30 hours from home and went to college, and so it was a good fit for his lifestyle, I guess, because if you had somebody at home.
And I guess we've been lucky with
Really?
we started long distance. Like we started at different colleges, so we made the long distance thing work first. And so now it's just and that was really when I told her I loved her, was when she came home with me that first summer and got to meet my family, spent 3 weeks at the house, and it was the more time I was with her, the more I loved her. And
Well,
so
I'm the same way, and as time goes by, I love my wife more and more, and I also think it's so crazy how similar we are. She was at a drama tournament every weekend in high school, right? So she was used to being on the road, being gone. So our lives, and I was already doing comedy when we got together. So, and I always tell people, it's just how we live. It is what it is, right? And we love what we do, but there's a moment where I actually get to miss my wife. Yeah. I go on the road. First day, I'm like, great. I'm away from the wife, man. I have some freedom. Going to the casino. I have some drinks. Well, the next day when I'm sitting in my hotel room alone, I'm like, why is it so damn quiet? I need to fight with my wife. I need the kids, and I miss her. So when we do get together,
Then he does come home and we miss each other, and then he makes me crazy, and it's time for him to go again.
Off again.
that's how I always joke. You can't miss me if I never leave.
That's right. That's right. But when you guys end up at the same rodeo, do both of you kind of feel that it's a distraction sometimes for the job that has to be done?
No, he pushes my calf, and I'm glad he's there.
No, I think the more it happens, the better, because we've competed with each other both. Even in college, we were both at the college rodeos competing together, and it's a lot of fun because then it's cooler when we're both entered, as of if I just come watch her, she comes and watches me, because then I get to feel like I'm involved with her competition, and then she's there to video my ride and stuff. And
do you get annoyed sometimes when he coaches?
He's actually really good. Do I get annoyed? I was gonna give you a compliment.
That's great. And now I'm into this.
I feel like you're very patient and explain things well.
No, we do really good. We do really good, but there are days where I'm like, if you maybe if you were my kid, you might get a swift kick in the ass.
I probably,
See, I always tell her that. I'm like, dude, if you're my kid, there's no way my son talks to me the way he just talked to me.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to find solutions, and I don't want one.
But our relationship is new, and now that we have become friends, I follow you and I watch, and I get worried about you. I worry about you, and when you go out there, I'm out there like, oh man, this is, because I know how dangerous it is and how dangerous it can be. How do you feel when you watch?
I think ever since I've met him, he's been doing it, so it's not something I'd want to change about him. So I just try to think about being excited for him instead of being nervous. I pray before every time he gets on too. That helps. And just, it's a different kind of, it's not a nervous, I'm scared he's going to get hurt. It's a nervous, I want him to do so good because I know how much it means to him. So I try not
and
to.
that's I always tell people, they really got on Tom Brady, and people kept telling Tom Brady, when are you going to retire? And why don't you retire? And I never enjoyed, I was never on that side of, because I'm a comic. Nobody ever has to tell me that I have to stop doing what I absolutely love. I love being on stage. I love telling jokes. And for me, I love making people happy. That's what I love. I love when people are smiling, when people are having I'm a giver. I'm a host. I'm somebody that when you come to my house, what do you need? And so nobody will ever tell me, when are you gonna retire, dude? You're too old to do this. Yeah. So when it comes for you guys, there's got to be that feeling of the clock is ticking.
No, and I guess I'm very aware of the timetable on bull riding. That being said, I take care of my body really well. I work out. I've looked into how to eat right and to stay healthier. But it's one of them ones. I'm sure there's gonna come a day where it's it is a very stressful lifestyle, a lot of travel, being away from home, getting on bulls, and that's part of the reason I am excited to have kids, but I know it's going to make it harder once we do have kids, because it's the risk of getting hurt and not being able to be there for my children is.
I mean, it's the same reason I don't drive a motorcycle, right? Because I tell Renee all the time, as a dad, I am here to eliminate risk, right? I'm not going skydiving. I'm not, I'm never going to put myself in a position that I could hurt myself, where I couldn't work or even die, so you have to minimize those risks. But for you right now, it's like, hey, this is my job. And I can't even imagine. I'm so high when I get off stage. When I do that hour on stage, or hour and 15 minutes, and I get off stage and everybody's cheering and you just have this adrenaline rush. I can't sleep. I can't imagine how it is for you guys.
Oh, I mean, it's the same way in bull riding, which my deal's only 8 seconds, but like
But it's not 8 seconds. It's the build-up.
Oh, the build-up.
It's the draw.
Oh, yeah.
It's what bull did I get? Oh, crap. Now I got to go watch that bull and how he runs. And then there's this. I mean, it's not just 8 seconds, right?
It's the build-up before, and then to get on the bull and pretty much do the impossible. And, for me, technique-wise, completely dominate. 8 seconds, get off. And then
does the 8 seconds feel like forever?
Not when I'm in when I'm in that zone. It's just about like you up on, just an hour flies by when you're up there and you're killing it. And that's like which also for me, like if I'm not in that zone, I don't make the 8 seconds. Like it's very much, you can't think, it's all subconscious training beforehand, and you get on and it's just bang, bang, bang.
Erika, it's the same for you.
Break open is quick.
Right?
Getting quicker and quicker.
And the sad part is that it's so fast that the disappointment is so fast too sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
If you miss, you missed.
Yeah.
And that's
you
it.
You got to get over it because you got the next one coming.
Right.
So.
God, the lifestyle you guys live is so interesting to me, and it's crazy to, and of course, I can't get hurt doing comedy, but
I don't know, people rushing the stage these days.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Chris Rock, you might get slapped, but I'm slapping back. I'll tell you that.
But it's funny, like you explained being on stage and like the height. I feel like he's like a completely different person riding bulls too. Like when I met him, I was like, oh yeah, this is this badass bull rider, like tough guy. And then you get to know him and he's like so sweet, loves puppies, like just this other complete person. And then he gets behind the chutes and it's like, whoa, this is a different guy.
He's an intense guy.
He's like in that moment, he's there riding bulls.
So what is the plan after bull riding? Now I know you got a sugar mama here, possibly,
I always tell you, which it is a real thing.
But you live on a working ranch.
Oh yeah, like that. I mean that would be the dream. It's
not leased. It's y'all work that ranch.
Like I said, my dad worked his butt off for the and we're partnered on some of it, and that's the dream is to do well riding bulls and invest. I got some land already, but continue to grow that and have my own cows and be able to spend every day with my kids out on the ranch doing cowboy shit.
He keeps talking about kids.
Oh yeah, he's got it bad. The baby fever is real.
My brother has 2 that's 2 and 8 months.
The
and so
thing.
I will tell you that I consider myself a pretty macho, tough guy. As a matter of fact, Renee goes, you think every dude's gay. You're so macho that everybody's gay to you, right? But man, kids soften you up, and that little girl that I have just... Buddy, I do pray that you have a girl, but I also pray that you don't, because she ruins me. I mean, I raised my voice to her the other day, and we don't spank our kids, we just don't. And I raised my voice to her, and she goes, and I'm like, dude, Garrett would crumble. My son, if I raise my voice, it's like, Dad's mad, and she was just like, relax, bro.
That's like Luella. She'll say, "Daddy or Mommy, chill." And they're like, "Oh no."
But I tell Renee, I have to be the heavy with my son. Like I am the disciplinarian. I'm here to raise a man, and I'm very, very hard on my son. If the words "no sir" or "no ma'am" or "no yes ma'am" or "no ma'am" don't come out of his mouth, I am on his ass. But I told Renee, with the daughter, I would like her to be the heavy, because when I get off the road and she's like, hey, your son did this, this, and that, and the other, all I want is squeezes. All I want is hugs. But then I have to come here and be a parent and be the hard ass, and it sucks. So with her, I'm like, no. I'm gonna be the come here, mama. What did that mean woman do to you?
But you talk about like the adjustment of coming on and off the road in your relationship. It adds a different level to it when you've got little emotions mixed in too.
Oh, yeah.
But being alone, and I, I'm always very conscious about how much I drink. I don't do drugs. but I do enjoy drinking. However, it's hard to be on the road by yourself after that huge high. Everybody wants to hang out. Everybody wants to have a good time. So for me, I made rules, right? And I go, look, I don't drink Thursday night. I drink Friday. Saturday night, I don't drink. I'm going home, and I'm gonna be daddy again, right? So for your business, is there some temptation sometimes to find yourself in that party mode?
I mean, a comedy club's in a bar.
Oh, well, and that's, I don't know how much I'm sure you've seen the stigma about rodeo, but like it is very true. Like there's a lot of guys that, they drink, go to the bar. There's free beer at every rodeo. Like it's a stigma that cowboys like to drink beer.
Especially
Drink and fight.
riders.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And for me, I don't ride good if I drink. The night before, if I don't feel good, I have a hard enough time staying on a bull when I feel 100%. So I've got more dedicated to my sport to where I'll go blow some steam off once a month if I don't have no bulls to ride in 4 or 5 days.
And that was one of the things I admired about you at my show. I go, hey, you want to have a drink? And you go, I'm training. And I really admired that about you because I don't drink on stage. And the reason I don't drink on stage is because I think it looks unprofessional, right? And I think that people spend a lot of money for me to be their night out. And if I'm up there drinking and getting drunk, to me, it just doesn't look, it's not the right look. And I'm not sharp. I want to be sharp on stage. I want to look professional. I want my show to be the very best show that I could do. And I know that if I'm drinking up there, I also don't have an off switch. Once I start drinking, I'm a drink. So you have to really kind of be professional. And then here's the last bit that I would like to ask. You have any questions?
No, I'm good.
We have Brian Hart
him.
here. I know Brian said he might have some questions. You have any questions, Brian?
I was wondering about the bulls. Like the bulls are, they've got to be famous too. Like there's got to be some bulls that you're kind of like, oh, not that one.
No, it's which that's a cool part about bull riding is that it's similar to the racehorse industry. Like they've bred these bulls for so many generations to where, the stigma is, oh, it's a crazy, wild, mean animal. That being said, there's a large percentage of them that you can go pet them in the back panel.
Right.
They're just very friendly, but they're bred to where when you get on their back, they're going to buck really hard. And it's, we see the same bulls quite often.
I was going to say, do the bulls travel the circuit too? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's people that own the bulls, be it like San Antonio Rodeo hires, let's say Steve had 100 bulls, that's what he did to make his living. San Antonio Rodeo calls him, they pay him to bring his bulls. And there's,
But they have to be approved for the professional level.
Yeah.
So, and then some of them drop off and, depending on their age or how they reacted at the last rodeo, they don't get invited back, stuff like that.
They try to have the best bulls at the rodeo like they try to have the best guys, if that makes sense.
And which one's your favorite?
There's one called Riding Solo. I rode him at the PB. He's actually the world. They have a world champion bull race, and he was a world champion bull last year. And
That was so cool too. He drew him so it was his first time going to the PBR finals, and they got to pick their bulls, and he was the rookie, and he picked the bull of the year. So it was like the big story, like the rookie who picked that bull. Like a lot of people were probably scared of him or thought they were gonna get bucked off, and Josh drew him because that's kind of the person he is. He always up for the challenge, and they played this whole big video right before he went, like showing off the bull. And like,
had its own highlight reel?
So everybody was like on the edge of their seat, and Josh rode him, and I mean everybody in this whole stadium was standing and cheering, and it was pretty
You had to
cool.
have a moment for you.
Oh yeah, it was
pride
awesome.
and,
Like I just knew how much he wanted it, so it was pretty
But look, I do believe there is a God, and I do think that things happen for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Right, and it was like, here you go. You wanted it.
Now's your
You dreamt
time.
about it. You prayed about it. Go do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is a connection you have too with the bull where you go, me and you, right? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
So my last question. Are any other questions, Caleb, Jake? Jerry's in our closet for some reason. I've been waiting for him to come out.
You and me both. You see
For sure.
Mine, not yours.
All right, so I will say that I'm a huge fan of country music. I grew up on it. There's a million songs written about rodeo. All right, so I'm gonna ask you first. I know what, I'll go first. My favorite song about rodeo, well, two, but my favorite is I Can Still Make Cheyenne. That is my favorite, and I tell you why. Because I make them. Rodeo to me is like being a comedian. Now I'm not comparing the risks and all that, but the being on the road and going to that next gig, and so when I hear I Can Still Make Cheyenne, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's cold. Like, I love the fact that he's like, oh, listen, it sucks, it's not gonna work out, but if I hang up with you now, I can still make Cheyenne, right? Yeah. So there's just that like love for the game that this guy has, that he's like, ooh, that sucks. I hate to hear it, but man, I gotta go to this next gig. So that's my absolute favorite. And I know, the Chris Ledoux's and, everybody, well, he was a real cowboy and blah, blah, but there's something about I Can Still Make Cheyenne that just for me is so cold-blooded and so awesome that he loves rodeo that much.
And this sweet,
right?
Angelic voice.
Yeah, me and Renee always said that I don't understand how that's not a duet.
Right.
I don't understand how that's not a duet. And then my other one is Garth Brooks' Rodeo.
I think you just stole Josh's.
Is my other favorite.
I get chills when I hear that one. It is.
It's again, I equate it to comedy, and that want to go over there, and you don't know if you're going to win that day, but you're going to go and try.
Do you have a pump up playlist?
I don't really. No.
So
not
Erika,
part of your routine.
Which one's your favorite?
I think I've always liked the song "Crazy Girl" by Eli Youngman, and then it meant a lot to me. The first time we went on a date, we went to the Oklahoma City. I went and watched you, and they were playing live there, and I had never
Eli
seen
Youngman.
them. Yeah, and we got to hear that song, and the worst part is they weren't very good live, and it made me really
It bummed
sad.
you out? You're like,
yeah,
oh, man.
it was like such a cute moment, but it was pretty cool. I think that would be my.
But when you
favorite
say
one.
that, that's and you don't know what was going on with the band that night.
I was going to say, I've seen them. I love them. I've seen them live twice, and I thought they were great both times.
yeah.
But that's my point. Were they hungover? Were they drunk? Were they sick?
And I don't know if just
what
the
happened?
sound was like not necessarily them, but the sound wasn't
Right,
good.
the venue
in that
makes a big
stadium.
difference. Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah, Garth Brooks, Rodeo, and then I knew Cody Johnson's Deer Rodeo is one
that's a sweet song.
hits and
I
feelings
don't
I've
think I know
had.
that one.
It's
Deer Rodeo, it's
yeah.
called?
It's
I don't know that Cody
slow
Johnson song.
but it's really sweet and talking about a first generation rodeo guy. Cody got into rodeo because his friends were doing it, and he was like, I want to do that. So he was kind of first generation rodeo. So, and it is also cool. I mean, yes, George rodeos, Garth never did. So when you hear somebody sing a song about rodeo, that's the reason Chris Ledoux, he's so revered, because he's done it.
Yeah.
So his songs really hit close to home because he's been on the road, been through all that stuff.
He knows, what it's like. Now, ex-rodeo or former rodeo cowboys, who are your favorites?
Oh, I have a bunch. Probably bull rider, probably the biggest mentor I've had for me would be my dad, which he wasn't super successful in rodeo, but as a kid growing up, he rode bulls, so I wanted to be just like my dad. And I've studied a lot of other guys, Donnie Gay, and I look more for the guys that are having success now, or them are the guys I study the most, because I feel like the game is, they're the top guys now.
Well, there's a lot of Latinos, man. We're even taking y'all's jobs.
Yeah. But
those Brazilian guys are tough.
Oh
man.
yeah. And then, like I said, there's a guy named Jose Vitor Leme right now, which he's probably by far the best bull rider going right now, and so.
And he's Brazilian?
He's Brazilian.
Yeah.
Bull riding in Brazil is huge, and
Mexico, South America,
Yeah.
And those guys are hardcore. You go to you see a Mexican rodeo, that shit is rough. I mean, they go with not spurs but actual spikes.
Gachos, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't hold on. It's just their feet, and they fucking go. It is insane. Now, for yourself, favorite rodeo?
Breakaway is hard because no one's really, it's not like they've retired yet. You can breakaway up to you're 60 years old and out there, but there's definitely a lot of big names out there right now, like Larry D and Jackie Crawford, and all them girls you look up to.
It's primarily
them.
a female sport, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only females can break her up. There's tie
only
down
females,
roping.
okay.
They have to get off and tie the calf down. But breakaway ropers, we just catch it and it pops off our saddle horn. So only girls can do that.
So if she was to do a under 3 second, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's getting
what's
faster and faster.
your best?
1.8.
Jeez,
Yeah, I have.
Louise.
Last Wednesday.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Was that one of those moments where you're like, oh, I did that?
Yeah, and I was actually been working with a mental coach, and she
Whoa,
said
wait, a what?
a mental coach.
Mental coach.
Yeah, for rodeo, and I feel like physically I'm good enough to do it, but like mentally I needed help to, which is the same mental coach that Josh works with. And
Holy shit, I was going to wrap this podcast up, but I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to do that.
Like, well,
How much they get paid?
Steve always talks about hypnosis, like how he hypnotizes himself. Is there a little bit of that happening?
No.
Not that. Like
No?
I do know guys. So I do know guys that have went and got hypnotized to help their bull riding. But I don't know. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I don't
when it
She's
comes-
more of like she'll talk to you and get figured out, like kind of the stuff that you don't want to talk to other people about. Like, I don't want to tell Josh I'm insecure about whatever this is, or I don't think I can win, or I have these thoughts that I don't want to. Like you.
Well, and there's
talk to
things
her
in
and
the
she-
back of your head that even though
Mental
you
blocks.
think
Yeah.
you think you're confident, but there's things in the back of your
It just
head
blocks.
that block, of
Yeah.
course.
And
We talk
she's
about
good
that all the
at her
time.
job. Like, she was an Olympic figure skater, and she knows how to get to that elite level, and what the struggles she's gone through have helped her become.
That's
a
so
good
cool that
mental
that's her
coach.
background. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's actually married to a bareback rider, and so she knows about rodeo and helps out. But she's very, very blunt and very direct to the point. And she told me, all right, this week, like, what's a win? And we talked about it, and she said, okay, I don't give a fuck about the times. And the first thing I said in that car was like, I was 1.8. And she was like, remember what I said? And I was like,
I'm excited for you, but that wasn't the goal.
She's over there going,
yeah.
listen, that is not.
Yeah, and I had to come back to, okay, you're right. We were focused on this, but I got excited right there.
Well, and moral of the story, it shows because she showed up to that event super focused on, okay, the process. I need to swing fast. I need to ride my horse. She does her fastest time ever because she wasn't thinking about the result.
Wasn't thinking about being fast.
Whereas most of
Right.
the time you get in there like, holy cow, I got to be 1.8 to win this. And
And it's intimidating. Like, I started roping late, and you show up to these rodeos, and all these world champion breakaway ropers are there, and you just can't let that get to you. And that was something I didn't know how to fix.
But that's what's hard about what Josh does is you cannot control that bull.
No.
You know, normally it zigs and today it zagged, right? And you were thinking, again, that mental block of you're not actually riding the bull. You have it mapped out in your head, and you can't do that, right? Because if he always goes left and all of a sudden he goes right on you, it's like, well, you should have been
much
riding the bull
reaction.
Yeah.
instead of trying to play the game with the bull, right? So, wow, it's awesome. I can't wait, and I'm hoping that we'll be together. We'll all be rodeo people together in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah.
I am headlining Wednesday night.
Are you allowed to
Awesome.
announce it yet?
Oh, shit. Yes, I am allowed to announce it, I think.
Are you?
Yes.
Rick, you might have to cut that part out.
No. So, yeah, I will be headlining that night, and it would be such a beautiful night if we're all together
Oh, yeah.
for that, because I'm
Planning on it.
so excited about it. And if you wanted to, you could stay with us in our Rockport house. We
Be
have a
awesome.
beautiful little house in Rockport, and you guys can stay with us. And my sister has 3 acres if we need to.
I was going to say, I don't know if we
park
have a place to park the horse in
We'll
the
park
trailer.
the horse in the trailer at Victoria's house, but I can't promise that her daughters won't jump on it and take off. But that will be such a beautiful moment for us. And hopefully those of you that are watching the podcast, we'll have a picture all together where I get to headline the rodeo. You guys will be at the rodeo. And don't fucking not win that one.
got it.
Don't do that. But we have to let Erika get on the road. So real quick, Rick, do you have any questions?
No, let's let them go.
We got to
Yes.
thank our sponsors.
Go ahead, honey. You do you.
Old Salt Coffee, they're going to be with us. Oh, we didn't even talk about it at the beginning. Helicopters for Heroes is happening this weekend, and Old
Right
Salt
now.
Coffee is
Yeah.
rolling out the red carpet, and they will be there. We're so excited to have them. Also, Picked Cherries. If you guys don't know about Picked Cherries, it is an app where you can share podcasts like never before. You can clip out a podcast. So you can actually take a clip from this podcast with you in it and share it with your friends.
Aztec Chevrolet. Don't forget about our friends at
Good
Aztec
old
Chevrolet.
Aztec Chevrolet.
And then, Josh, how can they follow your career? What are your socials?
most active on Instagram, I think it's Josh Frost 16.
I love that he's like, I think. I'm not sure, but I think. Yeah.
Josh Frost 16. Follow me on Instagram. All my content goes through there.
Erika?
I'm on Instagram as well. Erika
Check her out on TikTok. That's where all the
Well,
good
I was
stuff
gonna say,
happens.
dude. So my daughter and I were watching your TikTok, and you did this one when you were at NFR where you switched clothes, and you had the Frost
The belt.
and Delilah was like, play it again, because that song you played, and she was over there loving it. But yes, you have a much better, interesting social media than boring old Josh over here. So, but I say the same thing. Follow Renee. Renee is the one that'll give you the backstory of our life. So what a wonderful podcast. Thank you for joining us and coming to our home. And I can't wait for Corpus Christi.
We're so excited.
We're so excited. Bye, guys. Thank you.